When my wife cheated on me. It was a normal Wednesday evening. I had just come home from work, tired, but glad to see my wife, Sarah. We'd been married for 6 years. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were okay. We had our arguments like any couple, but I loved her. I trusted her. That night, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I didn't mean to look at it. Honestly, I didn't. But something made me glance at the screen. A message from a name I didn't recognize. It read, "I miss you already. Can't wait to see you again." My heart skipped a beat. I stared at the screen, hoping it was a joke or some misunderstanding. I opened the message thread. There were dozens of messages. Sweet messages. Flirty emojis. Things she hadn't said to me in years. My hands shook as I scrolled through. Photos. One of them together, laughing. Her smiling in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. I felt sick. She came out of the shower, humming a song. Her face still wet, her hair wrapped in a towel. She saw me holding her phone. Her face changed instantly. Silence. I looked at her. She looked at me. No words. Just that terrible, heavy silence that fills a room when something breaks. Finally, I asked, "Who is he?" She didn't deny it. She just sat down on the edge of the bed and said nothing. That silence told me everything. I left the house that night. I didn't know where to go. I just drove. My thoughts were spinning. My heart was crushed. How long had it been going on? Why didn't I see the signs? Was it something I did? I wanted answers. But more than that, I wanted the pain to stop. I ended up parking at the beach. I sat in the car for hours, just staring at the dark waves. This was the beginning of the worst and most important chapter of my life. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed in my car, parked near the beach. The waves crashed softly, but inside me, there was a louder crash happening. A storm. I kept thinking, how could she do this? Why didn't she tell me? Was I blind? The more I thought, the more confused I became. We used to be happy. I remembered our first date, our wedding day, the trips, the laughs. All of it felt fake now. Like a movie I once loved, but now couldn't watch anymore. I finally drove to my friend Mark's house. It was 3 a.m. I didn't want to bother him, but I couldn't be alone anymore. He opened the door in his pajamas. "Man, what happened?" he asked, shocked to see my face. I didn't say much, just, "She cheated on me." He didn't ask more. He just hugged me. I didn't even realize I was crying until I felt the tears on my shirt. Mark let me stay in his guest room. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand, trying to breathe. The next day, Sarah called me. I didn't answer. She texted, "Please come home. We need to talk." I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to delete it. The other part wanted answers. In the afternoon, I went back to the house. She was sitting at the kitchen table. She looked like she hadn't slept either. Her eyes were red. Her hands were shaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I said nothing. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. Those words made me angry. "You did hurt me," I said. "You made a choice, many choices, over and over again. Don't tell me it was a mistake." She started crying. I didn't care. Or maybe I did, but I didn't know what to do with the pain. I was lonely, she said. You've been so busy with work. I felt like we were strangers. So, you found someone else to fill the silence? I asked. She nodded slowly. It was like something inside me cracked open. I wasn't perfect. I had my flaws. I worked long hours. I forgot dates sometimes. I didn't always say I love you when I should have. But I was loyal. I never stopped choosing her. Not once. And now she had chosen someone else. I packed a few things and left again. I told her I needed space. She asked if I wanted to fix things. I said I didn't know, because honestly, I didn't. That week was the longest of my life. I stayed with Mark. He gave me space. Sometimes we talked. Other times, I just sat and stared at the wall. I felt broken. But then something happened. One night I was scrolling through my phone and saw an old photo of myself, smiling, happy, full of life. And I thought, where did that guy go? Not just because of Sarah, but long before that. I had lost myself. I had stopped doing the things I loved, stopped playing music, stopped writing, stopped seeing friends, stopped being me. Somewhere along the way, I gave everything to the relationship and forgot to leave some love for myself. That night, I made a decision. If I was going to heal, I had to start with me. The decision to focus on myself wasn't easy. I felt lost for a long time, like I was trying to find a light in a dark room. But I knew I had to try. The first thing I did was simple. I went back to the things I once loved. I picked up my old guitar that had been gathering dust in the corner. At first, my fingers were stiff. I forgot many chords. But slowly, music started to bring me peace. I also started writing again. I wrote everything. My feelings, my fears, my hopes. It wasn't for anyone else, just for me. Mark noticed the change. Good to see you smile a bit, he said one afternoon. I nodded. It felt good to have a friend who didn't judge or rush me. But healing wasn't a straight path. Some days were better. Other days, the pain hit like a storm. I would remember the betrayal, and the anger and sadness would come rushing back. Sometimes I wanted to call Sarah, to scream, to cry, to ask why. But I didn't. I knew I needed time. One day, I found a book in the local bookstore, Healing After Betrayal. I bought it and started reading. The words helped me understand something important. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to be angry. But forgiveness is for your own peace, not theirs. That idea changed me. I didn't have to forget what happened, but I could choose to not let it control my life. Slowly, I started thinking about the future. Would I stay with Sarah? Could I trust her again? Could we rebuild what was broken? I didn't have answers yet, but I knew I had to focus on my own growth first. After weeks of healing and thinking, I knew I had to face Sarah again. We needed to talk, not just about the past, but about the future. I called her and asked to meet at our favorite coffee shop. She agreed. Sitting across from her, I saw the woman I loved and the pain she caused. Her eyes looked tired but sincere. I want to know everything, I said. No more secrets. She nodded and told me about the loneliness she felt, the mistakes she made, and how she wanted to fix things. It was hard to listen. But I realized that if I wanted to move forward, I had to hear her out. We talked for hours about us, about our mistakes, about what we. I told her how deeply she hurt me. She apologized again, but I also told her I needed time. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight. It's like glass. Once broken, you can piece it back together, but the cracks remain. We agreed to take things slowly. After that day, I started attending therapy sessions. Talking to a professional helped me understand my feelings better. It wasn't about blaming Sarah or myself. It was about learning to heal and grow. Some days were easier, some were harder. But with each session, I felt stronger. I also worked on setting boundaries. I needed space to think and heal, and Sarah needed to respect that. We decided to go to couples therapy, but only when I was ready. The road ahead was unclear, but for the first time, I felt hope. Healing wasn't about giant leaps. It was about small steps every day. I started waking up earlier, just to have some quiet time for myself. I took long walks in the park. I journaled about my feelings, both good and bad. Sometimes I'd call Mark just to talk or vent. Sarah respected my space. She didn't pressure me or try to rush the process. Slowly, we began sharing little moments again. A coffee in the morning, a short conversation about our day, a smile that felt real. But I also learned to listen, to really listen. Not just to her words, but to my own heart. One evening, Sarah and I sat on the porch watching the sunset. She reached out and held my hand. I didn't pull away. Maybe this was the first real sign of healing. As weeks passed, Sarah and I slowly rebuilt parts of our relationship. It wasn't easy. There were moments when doubt crept in, when old wounds felt fresh. But we kept trying. One day, she surprised me with a letter. In it, she wrote about her mistakes, her regrets, and how much she wanted to earn my trust back. Reading it, I felt tears well up. It wasn't a magic fix, but it showed she was serious. I realized that forgiveness wasn't about forgetting, but about choosing to let go of the anger and pain. We started spending more time together. Simple things: cooking dinner, watching a movie, talking about our dreams. Each moment was a small step toward healing. I also learned to be honest with myself. When I felt scared or angry, I shared it instead of hiding it. Sarah did the same. We didn't have all the answers yet, but the fact that we were willing to face the hard truths was a good start. Months passed, and things slowly began to feel different. Sharing feelings in front of a stranger, but it helped us understand each other better. I felt stronger, more confident. I was learning to love myself again. This final chapter isn't about a perfect ending. It's about accepting reality and choosing to move forward. Sarah and I didn't magically fix everything overnight. Trust takes time. Some days are better than others. But what matters most is that we kept trying, kept talking, kept listening. I learned that betrayal hurts deeply, but it can also teach powerful lessons. I discovered strength I didn't know I had. I learned to value myself more. and I realized that forgiveness, whether for her or for myself, is a choice that frees the soul. Now, I wake up each day with hope. I'm not perfect, and neither is our relationship. And sometimes, the hardest stories become the most powerful. Thanks. From your watching, please like and subscribe me. See you at the next video.